All right, AP Statistics. In this video, we are in Unit 2, and we are looking at Example 6. This is an example of finding your LSRL given only some summary statistics. So we're looking at cereal here and how many calories and how much sugar is in it. You are told that calories have an average of 107 and a standard deviation of 19.5. Notice that in parentheses, I've told you that this means y bar equals 107. This is how you can tell which one's the response variable and which one is the explanatory variable. So calories, that's going to be our response variable. Sugar has an average of 7.0 grams, so x bar, so that's going to be our explanatory variable with a standard deviation of 4.4. And we're also told that the correlation is 0.564. You have to have these 5 pieces of information in order to do these problems. So what is the least squares regression line? So we are going to calculate the slope and the y-intercept using the information we're given, and I'm just going to scroll down and show you what the formula chart looks like so you'll know where the formulas are that you had in your notes. All right, so let me just ignore all this. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay. Anyway, so formulas for AP Statistics. So it's the very first, if you'll notice, this is our formula. That's just your form for your prediction equation. So y hat equals the y-intercept plus the slope times x. So that should be nothing new to you. We've been talking about that this whole time. But we need a way to find the y-intercept. So look at that, y-intercept right there. In your book, they write this like this so that it's easier to see that you're solving for A. But on the official formula chart for AP Statistics, this is the formula chart you'll be given on the test. This is how they write it. So that's how I'm going to use the equation because that's how you'll see it on the formula chart. And then we also need B, the slope, and here's the formula for slope. So these are right here next to each other. I want you to notice that for this equation, I have to have the slope in order to solve this equation. So I have to start with the slope first, okay? So for these problems, I'm going to start with the slope, then I'm going to find the y-intercept, then I'm going to end it by writing my equation in context. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is use this formula right here. So let me go back up to my problem here. So I am going to start with the slope equals r times the standard deviation of y over the standard deviation of x. So r in this case is 0.564 times the standard deviation of y over the standard deviation of x. Calculator, 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 calculator. 2.499. You do have to round that, so keep that in mind as you're doing these. So once I have that, now I'm ready to jump into my other formulas. So that's going to be y bar equals A plus 2.499 x bar. Okay, see, because remember, it's B right there. You know, I probably should have written it that way, sorry. So our formula looks like this. So I've got y bar right here, I've got x bar right here, I've got B right here, leaving me with A to find. So let me substitute in all of my values. Okay, so those are all my values. Again, I'm going to use the calculator to find that. And I rounded mine again just to make our lives a little easier. And then I've got to subtract it from both sides to solve my equation. And then I get that A is approximately 89.503. So now I've got enough information to write my regression equation in context? Well, that's why we talked about which one's the response, which one is the explanatory. So calories predicted, A, this A right here, plus B times the sugar. Sugar. Okay, that is your answer. Now I want you to think about everything you can do with an LSRL. Okay, I could have easily given you this problem and then ask you about 5 or 6 questions about it. I can ask you to interpret the correlation. I can ask you to interpret the y-intercept or the slope. I can ask you to interpret r squared, because wouldn't I just take this value right here and square it? So there's all kinds of answers that you can get, or all kinds of questions you can be asked to answer from a question like this. I could ask you to predict the number of calories given a certain amount of sugar. So you need to keep in mind that once you have that LSRL, you've got a lot of information packed into that one equation.